at multiplying proper fractions by an integer. So first things first, some key vocabulary that we'll be using today. A proper fraction is where the numerator is smaller than the denominator, so where we've got a smaller number on top and a bigger number on bottom. For example, 2/3 or 6/10, or there are lots of other examples that you could think of. An improper fraction is where the numerator is greater than the denominator, so we've got a bigger number on the top and a smaller number on the bottom. For example, 12/4, 17/11, or there are lots of other examples. An integer is just a whole number, okay? So I've used the example 4 or 6, or it's just any other whole number. So when we're looking at multiplying proper fractions by numbers, we're going to start off by using some diagrams to help us. So our question here is 2/3 times 3. What I've done is I've drawn some pizzas on the bottom of the screen, or some diagrams, but I'm going to call them pizzas because they look a bit like pizzas. And what I've done is I've shaded in 2/3 of each of the pizzas. Okay, so I've got 2/3 and I've got 3 lots of that. Okay, so I've got pizza number 1, pizza number 2, and pizza number 3. So what I can do is I can just count up how many slices I've shaded. So I've shaded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 slices. So I've shaded 6/3 of pizza. Okay, so that is going to be my answer. 3 lots of 2/3 is going to be 6/3. Now I know that if I divide top and bottom by 3, I'm then going to get 2 as my answer, okay? Because in this form here, I've got an improper fraction. And I have turned it into an integer in this case. Okay, this doesn't always work, but in this case, I have got an integer. So let's have a look at the next example. I've got 5/6 times 5. So on the bottom, I've drawn 5 pizzas, broken them into sixths, and then shaded 5 of those sixths for each pizza. So in pizza number 1, I've got 5 pieces shaded. In pizza number 2, I've also got 5. Pizza number 3, I've got 5. 4, I've got 5. And pizza number 5, I've got 5. So if I add those together, I've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 sixths of pizza. Okay, and if I was to check that by writing it all out, I've got 5 in my first bit, I've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in my second. And I'm just going to write this out to show you that it does work and that I get 25. Okay, so 25 pieces shaded. I've got 25 sixths of pizza. And now, this here, I've got an improper fraction. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into a mixed number, okay? So how many 6s are going to go into 25? Well, I'm going to have 4, and that would give me 24, and I've got 1/6 left over, okay? Then this is called a mixed number. Okay, so that was how I would do that question. Now, what have I noticed? So I've got one more example up here. 1/2 times 5. So what I've got is I've got my 5 pizzas here, and I've split them into half and shaded 1/2 of each. So I've therefore got 5 halves of pizza. Okay, so it's going to be 5/2. And then if I turn that, remember this is an improper fraction. So how many 2s go into 5? I could say that 2 do, and then I get 4, so I've got 1 left over. So 2.5 is going to be my answer. Now, if I notice here, that if I was to do 1 times 5, like that, I'm going to get that 5 here. And then if I leave the 2 there, I've got 2 on the denominator. So what's happening here? Well, when we multiply the numerator by the integer, that is what's going to be our new numerator. Okay, so the numerator of the original times the integer is going to be the new numerator. The denominator is going to stay the same. So when we have a proper fraction multiplied by an integer, we multiply the numerator by the integer and the denominator stays the same. So if I look at my final example down here, without the diagrams this time, I've got 6 over 11 times by 3. So I'm saying that's 6 times 3, all over 11, which is 18 over 11 as an improper fraction. And then as a mixed number, that would be 1 and 7 over 11. So let's have a look at an example without the diagrams this time. So I've got 2 over 13 times by 6. So I'm going to do numerator times integer all over denominator is going to give me 12 over 13. Now, if I was to do this with the diagrams, I would get the exact same answer, okay? And then this cannot be simplified because 13 is a prime number. So what we can do now is if you pause this video, you can have a go at these questions and then I will run through some solutions in a second, okay? So pause the video now. Okay, hopefully you had a go at those questions and you're here to mark them now. So, number 1, I've got integer times numerator all over denominator. It's going to be 12 over 3 as an improper fraction, and then as a mix, if I convert that from an improper fraction, I'm going to get 4, okay? 12 divided by 3 is going to be 4, so I've got an integer value. Number 2, I've got 14 times 2 all over 16. That's going to give me 28 over 16. Now I have a common factor here of 4, so if I divide top and bottom by 4, so I've got 28 over 16, I'm going to divide by 4, and that is going to give me 7 over 4. That's the improper fraction. How many 4s in 7? I've got 1 and 3 left over. Okay, so 1 and 3/4 would be my mixed number answer. 7 over 4 would be my improper fraction answer. Number 3, I've got 7 times 4 all over 20. That is going to be 28 all over 20. I've got common factor again, so 28 over 20. I've got common factor of 4, so I could divide top and bottom by 4. That will give me 7 over 5. That's my improper fraction answer. How many 5s in 7? I've got 1 and 2 left over. So 1 and 2/5 would be my mixed number answer. And last but not least, I've got 6 times 11 all over 32. That is going to be 66 over 32. Now, I could simplify this or I could just see what I've got. I'm going to simplify it, so I'm going to divide by 2 to get 33 over 16. Okay, so either of those would be a correct improper fraction answer. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to see how many 16s in 33. Well, I've got 2 and 1/16 left over. Okay, so that would be my mixed number answer. Hopefully you managed to get those. If not, then I would make your corrections now, see if you can work out where you went wrong. And then let's move on to a quick summary. So when multiplying a proper fraction by an integer, we multiply the numerator by the integer and keep the denominator the same. An integer is just a whole number. A proper fraction is where the numerator is smaller than the denominator. And an improper fraction is where the numerator is greater than the denominator. Okay, so that was a quick video on multiplying proper fractions by integers. I hope you enjoyed it.